Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about one of the best episodes of Tower of God. I think it's one of the best, at least for me. And that is Tower of God episode. What episode is it, Aaron?
Nine.
9. And pretty much probably going to be the title of this video too is the team of traitors. Because if you look at Team A compared to Team B of how they went about the game,
The exact opposite.
we had full organization to full dysfunction, and we're going to get into it starting off with the Endorsi betrayal of the fisherman that we see at the beginning. We have the betrayal of the spearman on Hots when he's fighting the Ranker, and we have the main betrayal of the Ho to Bam 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 and pretty much the whole lunch crew.
Yep.
And we'll start with the Endorsi betrayal of the fisherman. So Aaron, you want to start us off, bud?
Yeah. In a move that was very shocking, but also unshocking, she betrays her teams to self-serve herself. And all I could think was, yes, that makes sense. And why didn't y'all see that coming?
Yeah, like,
Like,
you think she's
done
gonna follow
nothing
the
with
rules?
that. Yeah, she's been doing that since the day she was introduced. Like, she's obviously out for number one,
Mm-hmm.
even if it is a team player game. Their disbelief. That's the only thing that's the only thing I took issue with, is their absolute disbelief that this woman they just met in a game to the death would betray them.
Oh my God, you're betraying me? What?
What?
But I guess they see her as the pretty girl of
Yeah.
she's a Princess of Zahad. She will never do something like that. We have this imagination of what
Wouldn't
Princess
that
Zahad
make
are
her
like.
more suspicious? Like, wouldn't you want to keep her eye on her more? Because if she is a princess of Zahad, I mean, she's got to be powerful. Therefore, you either want to be on her good side / keep an eye on her in case something were to happen. And look what happened.
So during this, we learned about like Endorsi's backstory of how like she was kind of brought up. Like her family is one of the least significant of the 10 families, so we know for sure there's 10. Which we might have got that information before. I didn't remember though if we did. So
We knew there were other families. I don't think we knew how many.
and the way this family kind of worked, it's kind of how Zahad, they choose Princess of Zahad. It's not like they're pretty much like orphans. Maybe not orphans per se, but the family takes in talented little girls, and raises them up. So the more talented the girls are during their training, they get better food. So if you're number one, you're eating steak, shrimp, you're eating the good stuff, Chipotle, you're eating that good stuff. While if you're in that lower tier, which was Endorsi,
Bread.
you're eating stale, cold bread. So she's grown up in this lifestyle of survival of the fittest because something we don't know what fully happens, but we can assume she murdered them all. But
Yeah, she straight up did murder them all. Like,
I mean, because she doesn't say. I think it says a following event happened.
heavily implied.
It's heavily implied. So
Heavily implied.
but we'll go with she murdered them all, and she was the last one standing, and she never had to eat that stale piece of bread again.
Yeah,
So-
I will bet any amount of money any new girls they brought in, if they dared, she murdered them instantly.
Oh, she 100% did that. I would not be shocked.
Yeah, she is out for numero uno, and maybe Bam Bam Bam. We don't know.
Nah, she's not after Bam Bam Bam. Like she's shown
She
caring,
wants Bam.
she's shown
She
caring
wants
moments. She's been
I
showing
know,
caring moments.
I know, but secret Bam Bam Bam. It's a secret ship.
Man, stop saying Bam Bam Bam. I have to put Bam 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 every single time we say Bam 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 on the goddamn video.
Well, you just said it like 3 times, so
Yeah.
you just screwed yourself.
I know. But yeah, so this is her lifestyle. So during the fight, Bam 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 is like, Endorsi, what are you doing? Why are you betraying the fishermen like this? And like they get into not an argument, but like almost some ideals in a way of how they should go about things. So Endorsi's like, they should have given up sooner. They were clearly weaker than me. Then Bam's like, but when you were weak, then you want to become stronger too. Like you were weak too. And then Dorsey's like, I've forgotten the taste of stale bread.
I forgot what it was to be weak,
Pretty
which
much.
which is horse shit.
But Bam says like, but this is wrong. And she's like, even if it's wrong, you have to do what you need to do in order to get what you want. So that's how her philosophy is. That's how she's raised. She will need to do anything she needs to do to get. If she wants a piece of fucking goddamn, I don't know, she wants an iPad, she's gonna fucking rob the store if she can't buy it. Like, she's getting that iPad one way or another. She's gonna flirt with a guy, get him to buy an iPad. She's getting it one way or another. She's someone that takes it.
She gonna take what she wants.
Mm-hmm. But
which makes sense in a death game.
Yeah, 100%. She's been in a death game her whole life. If you look at it that way,
she literally has been in a death game her entire life. So she is unusually adept at this game, I'm sure, because she's got an advantage. She's like, I have to kill without remorse because the people around me are competing with me for the thing I want. And in the sense of this death game, that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
To me.
I agree.
There are some... I know what they're trying to go with Bam 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 a little bit. It's like, but the power of friendship and cooperation, we can see things through. It's like, yes, but we know somewhere down the line they're going to make a game where it's going to be just a death match between you two. Unless you find some weird, tricky way to get around it, they're straight up just going to say, okay, you two, you've been friends for 30 floors, murder each other. The one who kills the other one advances to the next one.
It's
that's just the nature of this show at this point, and to not make that connection right now, Endorsi's ahead of the curve, in my opinion.
Endorsi's ahead of the curve. Bam 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 is learning. We're not gonna go into it yet, but later in the episode, she says to Bam Bam Bam, "Do things your own way." So it's like if that's what you want to do, you're your own person. Do things your own way. So it's like I understand Bam Bam Bam. He's also not aware of this world. He's been trapped under a fucking rock for all we know. He forgot his memory, so he doesn't even know. Only thing he knows is Rahal, Rahal, Rahal. That's the only thing he knows. So it's like, we'll get into it later. So we'll move on to the next betrayal. How about that?
That's fine. The Hots betrayal. Did you see it coming? Because I kind of did.
I didn't. Weirdly enough, this was like something. I'm like, when he calls out. So we'll bring it up real fast. What happened is, Hots is like, you know what? We're gonna fight, and we're gonna fight the Ranker guys, the two spearmen. Who gives a fuck their names? And Ranker comes and fucks up Hots like pretty quick. Like Hots is like, he could kill me anytime he wants to. Like, this ain't a match. This is just me trying to stall for time. For the plan, the plan was to get locked down, grab him. So he's like, my grip is strong enough to hold you down. At least he hopes it is. And the spearmen are supposed to come out and save him. Lo and behold, it's a team of traitors. So they run away, and Hots gets his head stomped onto the cement wall.
He gets pushed into the wall, and it made a squishing noise. Did you hear that? It was like, I'm like, oh.
I'm hoping he's still fine.
Like, how is that not dead? Like, you can't just like make that noise effect when someone's pushing your head into a wall and not think, well, they just crushed his skull. He's dead. I think, what else makes that noise?
We need to get this man an ambulance.
Yeah, everyone needs an ambulance after this episode, to be honest with you.
Go on.
It doesn't make. I knew they were gonna do it,
but it doesn't
make sense. In like, they have to fight the dude, no matter what. Why wouldn't you let Hans go first and then chuck your spear at him while he's fighting the other dude? Now you have no shield in front of you as you're running away. Now you just have to fight the Ranker, who's gonna catch up to you eventually by yourselves.
And it makes no fucking sense because literally, I mean, they're dumb. Look, we can all agree they're dumb. This makes no sense in the sense of their eyes because it's just like, okay, we know that being the Ranker isn't going to happen. You're not going to beat him. However, every second counts. If you can slow him down, as far as they know, no one else is being betrayed. Every second counts. You're trying to do is slow him down, and that shows that you're doing well for your part of the test. Like there's only a certain amount of people that can pass. You're showing, hey, we can do shit too. But when you betray your friends and run away, and we'll also get to the point of the weak and the haves and the have-nots next.
Yeah,
because they're the have-nots, obviously. when you're weak,
they have not a body anymore. I think they imply that they get killed, but I don't think he does. I think he just messes them up.
I think he messes them up too. It's just your main goal should have been just try to slow him down. This shows the best I can do. Betrayal, yes, should happen. Most likely will happen more. Like it happened 3 times this episode. That was the point of the episode. Yeah. But we will
It
see,
shouldn't have
we will
happened
see
like that.
reasonable betrayals, such as to me, Endorsi's, because what we see from this episode is the people with power, their betrayal works out for them, while the people that don't have power, their betrayal doesn't work out for them at all. We'll get to it in a second because I really want. That's the most philosophy. That's pretty much one of the two things we're going to discuss about
Yeah.
philosophy here as best as we can because I'm not a philosopher or some shit.
Short version: the other fishermen are stupid and they deserve to get stomped on by the ranker, who even called them out for being cowards,
The
and
spearmen,
then
you mean?
stomped. Yeah, the spearmen. Sorry, and then even stomped on their faces a little bit extra for being cowards.
Yeah.
So deserve it. Deserve it.
Oh, so you know how you say you didn't like Corntz, the ranker?
Yeah.
I love him. Love him to death. After this episode, for sure, dude.
Love him
When he ran
to
up
death.
on Hots, he was like that face he makes, so
Oh
awesome,
yeah.
dude. I was like, I watched the episode. Well, two times. Only supposed to be two times, but two and a half because my power went out the second viewing while I was making my notes. So, and the way you see that on screen is, yeah, it's doing stuff. So I had to rewatch it, and I'm like, God damn, he is
Pops out of
awesome.
the. He pops out of there pretty quick. He's still not my favorite. I still think he's an asshole, but he's not as insufferably an
He's
ass
my favorite
as
ranker.
I don't even.
Yeah,
I don't even consider them at this point because I don't know enough about them
yeah.
to even put them on the chart at this point.
All right, and
Gun to my head, it's probably the other guy. So the last betrayal.
yeah. All right, so let me get my notes back up real fast. So, the last betrayal, which this is probably gonna be the most of the video. Ho
Probably.
betrays Bam. We all knew it was gonna happen. Ho betrays Bam Bam Bam, and takes Rahal prisoner. Which we see is, so he grabs a knife. It's like, Rahal, you're coming with me, motherfucker. Has her by knife point. You know, doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm. Just some
Yeah,
random floor.
he kidnaps Rahal because he receives the letter. What he says that we saw last episode says, "Hey, if you get rid of Rahal / kill her, Bam 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 won't be here anymore. He ain't got no motive. He ain't gonna be here." So that's what's going on through Ho's mind. Like, if I'm going to pass because there's only a certain amount of wave controllers too that can pass, he's in his head like, I'm not gonna pass if Bam 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 gets passed. So
It's still here.
yeah. So it's like, all right, it has Rahal by knife point, which I thought Rahal would be a lot physically stronger, which we'll get to her possible power in a moment with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get, actually,
Yeah.
we can get to it now. Her possible power.
Yeah, just get to it now.
Yeah. Her possible power could be the shaman guy, the silent man with Rack, the spearman.
I think that's a heavy implication because when her life force fades, he just kind of like poof disappears, and then Rack was hilarious looking for him.
Yeah. So
My silent gem. The silent gem.
the silent gem literally disappears, which means most likely her power is like almost of that silent gem is her protector. So if someone tries to fight her, it gets in the way. Maybe sometimes it didn't do during the other tests either, though. But we don't know.
We don't know. They haven't revealed anything, but it's really interesting that her protector is a completely different, class of warrior. / if it is linked to her, is that not the same being, or is it someone indebted to her? Then why would he just go when she's, life force is fading away?
Could be a contract too.
Yeah, because she's not dead.
Yeah, she's still not dead yet.
Yeah, so if she was breathing at the end of the episode, because I saw at least one chest go. I saw at least one. So, yeah, How is definitely dead.
Okay, so then the ranker has her by knife, or not the ranker. Ho has Rahal by knife point, but then the ranker walks in and's like, God, he's mad because he's like, of course, I knew this was gonna happen because someone told him. Most likely the administrator, who most likely also wrote the note to Ho for whatever reason, because he was maybe testing Ho to see, hey, let's see if Ho does, because it cuts to the administrator. He's like, who could have done this? Who set me up? Is Ho's thinking, and then it cuts to the one-eyed girl, which I don't think she would do that. Well, she's one-eyed now. Red-hair girl, Bam fucked up. And then it cuts to the administrator. The administrator has all sorts of reasons, and the fact that Corinth is like, why? Of course, this is happening. He predicted it, kind of. kind of assumes that the administrator, who's also very calm about the situation, was the one to set it up.
Right. A very interesting way of going about it, because as soon as he pulls her away by knife point, they start acting like, oh, this isn't a part of the test, which means it would definitely affect his scoring within the test.
Yeah.
So even if his plan went off without a hitch, he kidnaps, Rachel and then kills her, and Bam 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 just drops out. Something tells me his scoring would be extremely affected by this, because they're acting like this isn't supposed to be happening. Something's wrong. This is like they're going completely off test.
Some of
Like,
them have to be dumb in the head. I feel like maybe the game, because you should, like we see with Endorsi, betrayal can work out for some people. Like,
it can't.
she's still passing after betraying her people, but she successfully betrayed them. If you can't successfully do it, that's what I think it is really. If you can't successfully betray somebody, yeah, your points are going to go down. But if you do it, it's going to go up. You're going to get more points.
Yeah, but whoever's manipulating him obviously doesn't care about Ho, and it could have. I just think he went about it all wrong. But I want to talk, like, when we get to it, I want to talk about his psychology behind doing it, because there are other characters who have the same motivations as him and who are going about climbing this tower in a very different way, and I would now argue are going about it in a better way because they're not dead.
Okay, so do you want to get to an hour to talk about Bam, like story wise? What do you want? What would you rather do?
Can I just throw it out? I think Bam Bam Bam, I don't care if this is like, I just want to throw my prediction out real quick. I think he's a secret ranker or a son of Jihad. I know they're always princesses, and they say princesses, but what if there's a prince out there, and the only reason they don't have princes is because Bam 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 was the last one, or he's a secret ranker? Because when he said the line, "Wow, when Quan says, "Wow, he mastered that ranker skill really quickly," I'm like, why would you say ranker? Why didn't you just say skill? I don't care if that's a hint or not, but based on the fact that he's made out of pure energy, and he's obviously adept at things, and he has no memories. And I'm probably acting like a complete idiot if I'm completely off,
No,
but it would make sense in my head if he's like, oh, yep, secret ranker and or a prince of Jihad. I'm just gonna throw it out. I'm just throwing it out now. Don't spoil it for me in the comments because I don't read them.
Yeah, I know you don't. You want to stay away from that. I usually tell you what they're saying.
Yeah, I know, right?
Those are good predictions. I don't know what to predict really with Bam Bam Bam, only because he is technically an outer worlder, so he's technically wasn't even there to begin with.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
But
So,
but
but what if? Yeah, I
do
like
I have to believe them? No, absolutely not. I don't have to believe them because they're liars.
So quickly, Bam. So what happens is Bam comes in. Ho's telling Bam this is he's doing this because it's your fault because Bam's showing off his power. Bam's like, what the fuck do you mean, Ho? I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just testing out. But obviously, Bam doesn't know how strong he is, and what he's doing should take years upon years of dedicated training. But he's doing it in a heartbeat. But he's like, Ho tells Bam and Bam, hey, fucking get the ranker, and then I won't hurt. I don't know if he even says he won't hurt Rahel. He just tells Bam get the ranker, and he's
Pretty
like, all right.
much.
The ranker uses a move that, like, on Bam Bam Bam, and just slows him down. Like, he can't move. Well, not shouldn't say slow down. He literally can't move anymore.
Immobilized.
So, immobilizes him, and then he tells Bam 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 use that move to save Rahal. And as that happens next, Rahal tries to escape Ho, and Ho stabs her.
Yeah.
Like, usually the Ho gets stabbed, but the Ho did the stabbing. So Rahal goes down. Bam 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 uses the move, masters the move literally after seeing it once. Seconds, like you were saying before. A ranker move seconds after. Insane, dude. Insane how strong this man is.
Yeah. How the hell did Bam not go instantly berserk when she gets stabbed in the back, though? Like,
I don't know.
we already know he can do it. The fact that he just watched the person who he cares about most in this world get stabbed, and he doesn't go absolutely bananas. What? That's what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
I knew as soon as he gets stabbed, then that Bam was just gonna freak out. Nope, he's very Rachel. Wait, what? Dude, vaporize him. Do something.
It might be because he considered, like he says, he considers Ho a friend. So it's like before it was just some random girl. She didn't know who they were. To him, Ho was a friend because everyone that lists Bam 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 considers a friend. So he didn't want to. That might have not made him not go off.
Yeah.
That's a
I would
possibility.
argue that his emotions would then be even more strong because you now have someone stabbing his girl and it was a friend, so there's betrayal leaped on top of that in a big pile, and then it's just like all the emotions mixed together. I feel like the reaction would be even stronger. But
I agree
that's
on
not
that.
what
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
not
what
what
they're going.
happens. Yeah, it's
That's
not.
not that's not what happened.
So we all know what happens the rest of the episode. I'll quickly describe because I want to get to the main thing. So Endorsi comes in. She beat the other people. Endorsi and
Probably
the
killed
Ranker
him.
and Bam 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 fight, and Bam Bam uses the move on the Ranker,
Hmm.
and Endorsi has the ignite weapon or whatever it's called. Use it on the Ranker. They're working together. Then the Ranker takes Endorsi's coat. Boom! It's like I got your tag now because she before the episode she flaunted the tag or not before during it. Flaunted the tag. Oh, here's my tag. So he takes his coat. She walks up to him like, oh, I'm sad. He's like, oh, you're sad. Takes off his thing. It's like, that's not my tag. This is my tag. They win. Who cares about that? Because the main, which was good plan, good fight. But the main thing for me, I know we both have like, you saw another thing about psychological that kind of happened. It's the haves and the have-nots. What
It's the
hosts?
story that's being told as they're fighting because they don't even really focus
Mm-hmm.
on the fight itself
Nope.
until it's over. They focus on dead Ho and
And Nosuke's daughter.
thank you,
Rest in peace,
Inosuke's
Demon
daughter,
Slayer's ending.
who are extremely similar, like in their stories and background. But that was the main point. The fight is just secondary to what's going on in the back, like what actually matters, and it's the conversation she's having with Ho. Well, having at him.
Yeah, because so
Yeah.
Ho, not to quickly say, so Ho before like starts crying, he describes his background. He's like, he literally couldn't save his family, such as like Inosuke's daughter. These are people that weren't born with power. They had, and every time they try to take some power, try to gain something while they're reaching for it, it just they fell short. They couldn't do it. Rather for Ho,
Something with
his whole family died. For Inosuke's daughter, all her friends died when she was robbing places. They were the have-nots, while people such as Bam Bam Bam, which why Ho hates Bam 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 before like Ho kills himself, says last words are "I hate you, Bam,"
I,
because Bam 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 was just born with this power, not even knowing he's born with it. He is the clear definition of someone that was born special. The tower chose him, and for Endorsi, which for in obviously in they don't know their backstory, so Nosuke's daughter and Ho kind of see her as someone that was also born with power, which she kind of was maybe, but she still worked her way up.
she,
But she was six. She was
yeah.
difference between her and Bam Bam Bam. They both were are people that are the haves, but she worked her way up and she actually reached it instead while they fell.
Yeah. Might be why she's quote unquote attached to a knack now. Because they had that little moment where she's talking about someone I want to climb the tower with, and it's a knack as she's getting her hair done, and then smiles really, really cutely.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say I saw
oh,
that. I said
oh.
oh like three different occasions.
I know. I was like, oh, that's so cute. But it's I feel like the two characters, Anuska's daughter and Ho, they they took the trauma of what happened to them and went down completely different paths because Ho internalizes it and he doesn't really it doesn't seem like he seeks to better himself. He still just looks at the world around him and seeks out and looks at the people who he associates with being in power and seeing them as the problem as opposed to if I work hard enough, I could then be at the level of the people that took from me and prevent it from happening again.
Yeah,
Which is kind of what Anuska's daughter wants to do. Like she
in the
wants to live.
progress. Yeah,
Yeah, she wants to keep living so she can at least have the like the bare amount of power to survive in this world, so that the thing that happened to her friends doesn't happen again. And
Ho was
I
keep going.
Ho blames Bam for something he didn't do. Like I could understand hating Bam if he was acting like any of the other characters on this show who know they're powerful and flaunt it. The thing is, Bam doesn't know. Ho can see this. He's not
Yeah, he's not
dumb.
dumb.
He's not a dumb character. He can see Bam 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 is not a dumb character, but he still sees someone with immeasurable power and thinks he's the problem. But Bam 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 doesn't do anything to like instigate a problem with Ho. If anything, he probably would want to help Ho train and get better because that's just who he is as a person. Now, if he had went and asked almost anybody else, they'd have been like, go away or I'll kill you. Bam Bam Bam's probably the one person out of the entirety that would be like, oh, sure, you want to train? I would love to help you get better, especially if he knew his background. And
I agree with you on literally everything other than the last part. I do not agree with you on the sense.
You don't think Bam 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 would help him train? You don't
I think because Bam Bam doesn't have Bam 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 has the power, but he doesn't really have the assets to help. Like Ho could train Bam Bam Bam. It would be the other way around in the sense of he doesn't have
like refining it.
Yeah. Bam Bam can describe where his power is coming from. He would be like it just happened, which is why Ho goes back to he hates him in a sense. It's like if you're in high school and you were poor and you don't really try to get yourself better, you try a little bit, but you're not ever reaching for that perfect goal. You're kind of you just have hate in your eyes anytime you see someone like the new rich kid that comes to town, and the rich kid's super popular with everybody at the school, but you're just like,
but you don't understand why.
Yeah, you're
like the reason he's popular is because he's going around helping people. He's trying to be friends with people. He's actively trying to.
Yeah, it's not just because he's rich.
It's because his personality is likable. It has nothing to do with the power behind him. Because Bam 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 doesn't even truly understand his own powers. That's not even a defining characteristic of him. But to Ho, it is, and so he just blames Bam 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 because at this moment he's probably the most powerful thing he's come across since he lost all of his family.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, devil creatures.
In the end, it's the haves and the have-nots. While some people have it, some people don't. So, can I just quote from Inosuke's daughter? It's not really a full quote, but she says this to Ho while he's dead.
Dead.
The world is unfair, Ho. They look the other way when things are taken from us, and get in our way when we try to take it back. As she watches Bam and Endorsi, she realizes she's never fought like to that level before. She always makes excuses. She always regrets things once they're taken from her. What if she stood up to them once? Would she win? Like if she stood up in the fight, would she win? Maybe she never stood a chance in winning in her whole life.
Right.
But if she faced them, maybe her heart wouldn't feel so empty during that time. But you can't do anything if you're not alive, she says. And you could have been a great man, Ho, is how she ends it off. So it's like, it's kind of deep, man. It's kind of like
it went into a place I wasn't expecting this show to go.
It's like Krillin watching all the Dragon Ball Z fighters fight. It's just like
he's like, what the flip am I still doing here? But I'm still gonna be here because at the end of the day, I will die fighting for my planet and my friends. That's the core of a lot of those characters that are like pushed to the side in that show. Yeah, they're not the most powerful, but you sure as shit believe that every single one of them is going to go down fighting.
Yamcha's there every single time.
Every single time he's still there because that's just who they are.
Dude, I tell you just gush of how much I love this aspect of I think they play this perfectly of the haves and the have-nots. And to my eyes, like just you get to see like Endorsi, who is someone like just showing they are the haves because she was a traitor as well. I think that contrast of there's 3 traitors. Endorsi is one of those traitors, but since she has it, there's no negative effects. While for the 2 spearmen, we're probably never going to see them again. Maybe next episode will be the last time we see them in the whole series because they're the have-nots. They didn't have the power to do anything. We're never going to see them. If they had the power to run away from the Ranker, maybe they passed just off of that because they were fast enough to get away. But they're the have-nots. They didn't have the power to do that. And then Ho also being the have-not, he could never get to that level that Bam 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 gets to. He can never see himself accomplish anything. No matter how much he tried, strength was like literally he never had strength. He wanted strength. If he had it, his whole family wouldn't have died. That's how he sees it psychologically.
Right.
And it just, to me, I think I think this episode did it perfectly. And it's probably, I can't wait to read it in the webtoon, or what is it, Korean manga? I forget what's called.
Webtoon.
Webtoon.
I'm
Got it.
gonna. Yeah,
So,
I'll be reading on a webtoon probably.
yeah, we're gonna most likely. I don't know if Aaron is. We're, like I said, we're gonna do the chapter reviews or every 10 chapters, but I'm gonna reread everything just to get a glimpse of how it's. Yeah, so I'm gonna reread all of this stuff, see what we missed, etc. But you had another psychological point that you saw during this episode.
Oh shit! What was it? I got so wrapped up in it.
That was 33 minutes ago.
I know. I totally forgot. What was it?
Yeah, take your time. I mean, I will cut it right now until we get to it.
Whew. Oh, I know. There's so much to unpack in this episode, which is a lot more than I can say about a few of the ones that we've had so far. But it was definitely Endorsi's episode, I think, for the entirety of it. Like, from beginning to end, she, dominates everything. And I think at this point, she's definitely as smart as Hans is. Not Hans. Kun, excuse me. She's definitely as smart as Kun because she played that Ranker like a fiddle. Exactly like Kun played the Ranker like a fiddle.
Yeah, he got played like literally hardcore.
She honestly didn't even need the rest of them.
No, she could have did that fight anytime and did the exact same thing.
But she took her time to weed out all the people she didn't want to advance, making sure that they couldn't probably impede her / she didn't want to deal with them any longer. And then she went and took care of the Ranker situation, and they won. So I'm like, what? What the heck? Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Endorsi's a thinker, dude.
And Darcy is definitely a thinker, and I think that's going to be And she doesn't... I think she's keeping that close to her chest. She's like, if I don't act like Kun does, who's obviously the thinker of the entire
everyone
group,
knows he's smart. Like,
yeah, distract him with my prettiness and my over-the-top personality. But deep down, I'm a killer, definitely, first and foremost, and I can think ahead. Like, she is definitely going to dominate.
She still has... I love, though, that she still has that heart, almost. Because, like she says...
It's so strange. Yeah, she's like,
she doesn't
bam, 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 and a knock, she's like, I love you.
Not even just that. Remember, she did not need to do the... She didn't need to fight the Ranker to pass. She knew she passed already. She said, I have no points to pass this already. She did that so Bam 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 would pass. She did that for everyone else in her lunch table group to pass other than Ho, because he dead. But everyone else at that lunch table would pass. And she even assumed Ho was going to betray her. She assumed this stuff, which I'm surprised Kun maybe didn't assume this. But Kun maybe didn't have that many interactions with Ho. Possibly. But
I think he had enough, but I think her personality and who she was didn't really impact any of his plans, so he didn't really... It didn't need to be discussed, almost, like Kun's on his own wavelength, she's on her own, and they're just gonna keep crisscrossing back and forth almost with each other. One of their plans is gonna intersect with the other one, and maybe they work together, maybe they don't, but I will bet you anything if the screen hadn't gone dark, he would have been much more interested in the developments, which that's interesting how they made the screens go dark for the Team A, not to witness how exactly Team B wins. I'm sure they'll find out, but I'm very certain Kun would have definitely loved to have seen it from a first-hand point of view rather than someone telling it. Yeah, Endorsi, she outsmarted the Ranker doing this, and this. He's like, but how? How did she do it? Like the exact way, because he needs to analyze the person to understand them even better than they know themselves almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I fully agree. All right, so we'll end it off with this. So Rehal's in the hospital. She may die. She might not.
Oh yeah.
Who gives a
fuck?
Who gives a fuck? So tell me, guys. We'll see what happens the next episode. So what do you guys think about the episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? And if you like us talking about the episode for maybe 30 minutes, how long this video is, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Maybe touch that notification bell. It's right there. It's right there. Hit that notification bell. It helps us out. It helps us grow the channel. So yeah, I think that will be it from us. Aaron, any last words?
Rack is still best boy.